You've probably complained about a flight being delayed by 2 hours. Somewhere, an ancestor of yours walked for 2 years to reach a place they'd never seen, with no idea if it even existed. For most of human history, there were no roads, no maps, no way to know what was over the next hill except to go and look. And yet, somehow, humans ended up on every continent on Earth except Antarctica, using nothing but their legs, their wits, and eventually, a few genuinely insane ideas. So how did people with no compass, no engine, and no idea what a destination even looked like spread across the entire planet? It starts with walking. Not jogging, not sprinting, walking. For days, for weeks, sometimes for a lifetime. Humans are strange animals. We're slow compared to almost anything that wants to eat us. But we don't get tired the way other animals do. Our bodies are built for endurance, not speed. Long legs, springy tendons, millions of sweat glands that let us cool down while running prey into exhaustion. It's called persistence hunting, and it might be one of the reasons we survived at all. Not because we were the fastest, but because we simply refused to stop. That single trait, the refusal to stop, might be the entire story of human migration. Around 70,000 years ago, small groups began leaving Africa, not as an organized exodus, not with a plan, just families and bands, pushing slightly further than the last generation had gone, generation after generation, until slightly further, added up to thousands of miles. They crossed into the Arabian Peninsula, during a window when the climate briefly made the desert survivable. From there, into South Asia, then Southeast Asia. And this is where it gets strange, because at some point, these people hit water. Not a river you could wade across. Open ocean. And they crossed it anyway. Around 65,000 years ago, humans reached Australia. To get there, they had to cross at least 60 miles of open sea, even during the lowest sea levels of the Ice Age. That means someone, somewhere, built a vessel, capable of carrying multiple people across open water, with no land in sight for most of the journey. Tens of thousands of years before anyone invented writing, before farming, before the wheel. We don't know what those boats looked like. Wood and reeds don't survive 65,000 years. But we know it happened, because there's no other way people end up in Australia. Meanwhile, other groups move north, into Central Asia, then into brutally cold, unfamiliar terrain. Steppes, tundra, ice. And this is where something changes about human travel. It stops being just about walking, and starts being about surviving conditions the human body was never built for. Cold-adapted humans developed tailored clothing, not draped furs, but sewn, fitted garments, evidenced by bone needles found at sites over 40,000 years old. That's the moment travel stops being limited by geography and starts being limited by technology. Once you can make clothing that traps heat, the Arctic stops being a wall. It becomes a route. And it was a route because around 20,000 years ago, during the peak of the last ice age, sea levels dropped so low that a strip of land connected Siberia to Alaska. Scientists call it Beringia. It wasn't a bridge in the postcard sense. It was a vast, cold, windswept plain, sometimes hundreds of miles wide. People crossed it, not knowing what was on the other side, not knowing if there was anything on the other side. They followed migrating animals, because animals meant food, and food meant survival. One more day, and once they were in the Americas, something remarkable happened. Within a few thousand years, a blink in evolutionary terms, humans had spread from Alaska all the way down to the southern tip of South America. That's roughly 10,000 miles, through nearly every climate that exists on Earth. Arctic tundra, temperate forest, desert, jungle, and mountains over 20,000 feet high. No engines, no wheels. In most of these regions, for thousands of years, just legs, and the same trait that got them out of Africa in the first place, the refusal to stop. But walking wasn't the only trick. Around 6,000 years ago, on the grasslands of Central Asia, something happened that would shrink the world overnight. Humans domesticated the horse. Before horses, a long journey happened at roughly 3 miles an hour. Walking pace. After horses, that same distance could be covered in a fraction of the time. Suddenly, trade routes that used to take a lifetime to establish could be built in a single generation. Ideas, goods, and diseases moved faster than ever before. The horse didn't just change how far people could go. It changed how connected distant peoples could become. And then came boats again. Real ones this time. Not rafts crossing a strait, but ocean-going vessels. The Polynesians accomplished something that still stuns modern navigators. They crossed thousands of miles of open Pacific Ocean, with no compass, using nothing but the stars, the direction of swells, and the flight patterns of birds, to find islands too small and too far away to see from land. They settled Hawaii, New Zealand, Easter Island, some of the most remote inhabited places on Earth, centuries before European sailors dared to leave sight of the coastline. So here's the picture that emerges. Humans didn't spread across the planet because we're strong, or fast, or naturally built for any particular environment. We spread because we're relentless. Every obstacle, ocean, ice, desert, mountain, got treated as a temporary problem, not a permanent wall. The real engine was something underneath all of it. A species that looked at the horizon, had no idea what was out there, and decided to go find out anyway. Every road you've ever driven on, every flight path in the sky, every shipping lane across the ocean, all of it traces back to that same impulse. Someone, somewhere, thousands of years ago, looked at the edge of the known world, and just kept walking. So what do you think? Could you have crossed an unknown ocean with no compass, no map, and no idea what waited on the other side? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey through human history, make sure to like the video and share it with someone who loves discovering how our world was shaped. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next adventure, because there are still countless mysteries from the past waiting to be explored. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.